Hi and welcome to Ali Lives Well on Less. I'm Ali, an early retired teacher currently living well on a small pension. And today I am going to be planting my first seeds of the season. So I'm going to show you my huge collection of seeds that I have accumulated. Now last year I didn't plant anything because I was moving house at the time. And all the seeds that I had accumulated, I just put into boxes and thought, yep, I'll use them in the future. So I've laid them all out on my table. There's a lot. There are rather a lot of lettuce variety seeds. So I am going to use them as microgreens. But today I'm going to show you me planting my tomatoes, chilies and cucumbers, as well as showing you the microgreen seeds that I'm going to be using. I'm also going to show you my potatoes, chitting, and I'll explain what chitting is. And I'll show you the setup that I have with my windowsill propagator. It is upstairs in my bedroom because it's south facing. It has access to a plug and it's out of Miss Luna's reach. So here are my seeds and my setup. I'm also going to do some comparison things this year. So I'm going to compare seeds and plants that I have started off in my propagator and compare them with some DIY upcycled materials as well. And I will go through the season and I will compare and see if there's any benefits or disadvantages to starting things off in professional equipment or just using what you've got. So hopefully that's of use to somebody. Let's jump in and I'll show you my huge seed collection. And I think there's a little bit of noise from next door's, they're laying floors this weekend. So if you hear any sort of drilling and banging noise, it's just my neighbours. And they did kindly tell me beforehand so that I was expecting a wee bit of noise this weekend. So let's have a look first of all at my seeds and then I'll show you my propagator and then we'll get planting some seeds. So here we have the propagator out and ready to be filled with compost. I've got some onion sets, which are essentially little tiny baby onion bulbs to get started off. I'll be doing them in egg boxes. And my potatoes are chitting, which just means that you set them out in a warmish place. I mean, they're quite near the radiator there, to allow some of the little sprouts, shoots to get established, and then they will be planted out. And yep, we're into the third week of banging and hammering next door, doing their kitchen. But to be fair, they did come and tell me they were going to be laying the floor this weekend, so I can't really complain. And yep, that's Luna finishing her lunch. So all I've done now is fill my propagator tubs with some seedling compost. For planting seeds, it is best to use the seedling compost because it is sterilised and there's less chance of it having any sort of fungal infections or anything in it. So I'm just going to pop the lids on and I'm going to switch the propagator on. Firstly, to check it's working, and secondly, just to warm up the compost before I plant the seeds in the next few days. I'm also going to do a trial by using, I think this is an old mushroom tub, and I've just taped a lid to it. It's best if you've got two the same size. As you can see, this one's a little bit short, but you can make your own little mini propagators by reusing plastic tubs from veggies and fruit that you get in the supermarket. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to put some compost in here. I've made 2 little holes in the bottom, and it's going to go inside a plastic bag. And I'm going to do a sort of control to see the difference between using the heated propagator and just recycling, upcycling things that you may already have. So all I'll do is pop these little lids on, and then I'll switch on my windowsill propagator. And I'll know it's working because after a day or so, there will be some moisture starts to gather on the lid. So I'll show you that when it happens. So it's the next morning. We're now on to the 2nd of March. Propagator has been switched on overnight. It's working, obviously, and you can see already that there is some moisture inside. So this is the propagator, and this is my DIY one as well. So I took the lid off, and I'm just going to keep it in a plastic bag until the seeds pop up. So next stage is planting the seeds. And I'm going to be planting tomatoes, chilli and cucumber. Okay, first up is cucumber. So I'm using this one. If you look on the back, it tells you when you can sow indoors. Because I'm in Scotland, our growing season is colder and shorter than other parts, even of the UK. So I tend to follow the later planting dates, just to be on the safe side. So cucumber seeds look like this, and you plant them on edge. Okay, so you don't just put them straight into the ground like that, you put them on their edge. So I've got 2 trays for cucumbers, and I'm going to plant 1 or 2 in the do-it-yourself one as well. So all I'm going to do is place them on top of the soil, just to make sure I've got the positions correct. Let me see. So there should be 13 seeds. Sometimes you get more than it says in the packet, but this one seems to be spot on. Okay, so I'm going to do 6. I'll space them out a little bit more. So I'm going to do 6. Oh no, wait, so 6 and 6 and 2 is actually 14 seeds. So these 2 are going to be planted in this one as the control. Okay, so I'm happy with the position of them. So all I'm going to do is push them in with my finger, making sure they are on edge. So all I'm going to do is push them in. Just push, making sure they're on their sides, on edge. And then I'm just going to cover them back up again. And then I will pop their lids back on. So they're probably about a centimetre, a half to a centimetre deep, and then just cover them up again with the compost. And all I'm going to do is pop the lids back on. Now, they do not need watering unless your compost is really dry, and in which case you would have moistened it beforehand. But that's it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to do the same now with the chilies and the tomatoes. So cucumber done. Chilies, I'm using this one. This is from Seeds of Scotland, and it says approximately 25 seeds. So I'm just going to plant them all. Okay, so they just look like the little seeds inside your chilli. So I will try and space these out. Same way. Put them on the surface first, and then I will push them in. And that's about as fancy as I get. Sometimes with smaller seeds it's harder to keep them separate, but that's okay. Even if two come up very closely together, you can just pull out the weaker one. And again, oh, I haven't actually pushed it my finger. Again, I'm going to put some in the do-it-yourself one. So the chili ones will be at the end. So I've got 3 will go in there. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And same as I did before, I'm just going to push them in. Push, push, push. If you want, you can make holes beforehand and then drop the seeds in. Doesn't matter. They grow either way. I have tried all the ways, and you just find the way that works best for you. So I'm just going to push in 3 on that one, and lid on. And you can see there's a little bit of water in there, but that's okay. As I said, they create their own little ecosystem, and they do not need watering unless, as I say, it was dry. So chili's done, cucumbers done. We're on to tomato. I'm using this one. It's Ailsa Craig. It's a salad tomato, which means it should be good for eating. But to me, tomatoes are tomatoes. I will happily eat most tomatoes. I'll cook with tomatoes. And again, this one, approximately 25 seeds. Okay, a little bit paler than the chili ones, and a little bit smaller. So I will try and spread these out a little bit. Okay, and oh, I am not doing that very well. I have seen some gardeners use things like tweezers and so on, but like most things I do in life, it's just the quickest and the easiest way for me. So I'm putting 3 in the control tub, the DIY one, push them in, and that's it. All done. Right, so push these ones in, push, 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 push. They'll find their own way. You can actually feel that this compost is warm, so they should actually germinate in a day or two. Just watch when you're pushing them in that they don't come back up and just sit on the surface. So there's one there. Get in. Okay, and lid on. So I've got my little labels to remind me which is which, but I've been doing this long enough that I can more or less recognise seeds when they come up. Okay, last one. Now I'm doing microgreens. I'm just going to use this lettuce salad bowl, so cut and come again version. These will not be growing into plants. These will be harvested as microgreens, and there's loads of them. So I'm going to aim for about half the pack. I don't know how many seeds this is supposed to have. Average 625 seeds. So all I'm going to do with this one is sprinkle, because they're so tiny. These ones are really tiny, so these ones are just going to be sprinkled. Yeah, I would say that's probably about half. And I'll do that at half an hour time. And I'm just really gonna, just give it a little bit of a push and a cover and a, there we go. And lid on. Okay. I'm now just going to put this one back in to the bag and seal it up. And I'm literally going to do nothing with these until I start to see the first shoots. Now, hopefully it'll be a couple of days. Okay, that's it, just sealed, and that will just sit on my little tray in the window. And that's it. So that's me planted chilies, tomatoes, no, cucumbers, chilies, tomatoes, some lettuce for microgreens, and over here I've got the little trial one in the DIY tray, using an upcycled tub. I'm going to go and wash my hands now. So that's it, the first seeds are planted, the potatoes are chitting. My next job in the next few days will be to sort through my onion sets, and I will be starting these off in my egg cartons, and I will show you how I do that. So if you're planning on doing some gardening this year along with me, it's a good time to get started now. And Miss Luna is not very happy because I just put her outside. So it's a good time to get started on all things gardening. Even if it's just planting a few seeds indoors, we're still a long way from planting anything outside. So good chance to get started and feel like the growing season has begun. See you next time. Bye.